Welcome, my viewers, to my English channel. That today we are going to look at our next lesson, lesson 4 under unit 2, which is tenses, and we are going to look at simple past tense. We are going to look at simple past tense. Now, when we talk about simple past tense, it's as simple as it is. A past tense that is just simple. It's not extended, it's not complicated, it's not anything, but just simple past tense. So the simple past tense is used to describe past events, meaning finished moments or periods of time. Now, here, when we are talking about what has happened in the past and is finished, is completed, we simply use simple past tense. We simply use simple past tense. So, for example, let us look at these two sentences that are going to illustrate how we use simple past tense. So, sentence number 1, I spent my childhood with my family in Canada. I spent my childhood with my family in Canada. So there is the spent. It is spent, not spend, not spend. Spend is the base form of spent, which is past tense. This is spent. Then its base form is spend. Second sentence. I started my studies at Nairobi University in 1994. I started my studies at University of Nairobi in 1994. Started. Now, let me take you through these two tenses in these two sentences. The above is spent in the first sentence, spent, and it is the past tense of spend. So, when we look at the first one, spend and spent, they are totally different. Meaning, the first one is irregular verb. Let us look at the second one. Start is the base form. Started is the past tense. Now we have added ed on start to make it a past tense of started. So this is a regular verb because it's only with the regular verbs that we can add a d or ed on their base forms, on their present simple tenses to make their past simple tenses. So it brings us now to the rule. It brings us now to the rule. It brings us now to the rule. So now there is a rule. Now the rule here is that we are looking at the form. We are looking at the form. So we are looking at the form and we are interested in, first of all, looking at the rule. Rules are very important when it comes to converting the base form of a verb to its past simple tense. So there is rule for regular verbs. There is rule for regular verbs. So we are saying verb with the base form which ends in any letter, ends in ends in any letter of the alphabet except E. Except E. What do we go about it? The verb with the base form which ends in E in E. Yeah. So you will find that what we shall do is we also tend to add different letters, and in this case a D or a ED to make the best form. So you'll find we shall add ED to any verb ending with any other word, letter except E. We shall add ED. But if it is ending with E, then we shall only add D. Yes, we shall only add D. What we are saying is that, take for example, listen, listen. We add ED to make listened. But let us take watch, watch. We add ED to make it watched. Now, if it was dance, you see, dance ends with the E. So we shall only add D to make it danced. What about if a verb, a regular verb is ending with Y? What do? We replace Y with IED. We replace Y with IED. So for example, study, study will become studied, will become studied. So now what about the negative form of simple past tense? The way we conjugate it, the way we construct it, it is subject plus did, then plus not. Then you give the base form of the verb, meaning you just give the simple present tense of that verb. But because of the aspect of did, and which is not do, did, it brings in the aspect of past tense. So like for example, you can say, I didn't watch TV last night. Instead, I read my notes from an important lecture. Example 2, my friends didn't disturb me. They understood that I was busy. So didn't watch. Watch is just the best form of that verb. But because of the aspect of didn't, then it qualifies as a negative form, but in simple past tense. So this brings us to the end of our lesson 5, and that is simple past tense. So what you have to remember is, number 1, that simple past tenses will always tell us about past events, will tell us about past events, events that are completed. Yeah, they happen in the past and they are complete. So that's the work of simple past tense. Then another thing you have to notice is that with regular verbs, when converting them from present tense to past tense, what you do, you add D or ED to make their past tenses. It's as simple as that. Then when it comes to irregular verbs, with irregular verbs, my advice to students, to learners, is that you just have to master them because they don't conform to the rule above. They don't adhere to the rule above. They don't obey the rule above. You don't have to use the rule above, which is in conformity with regular verbs on irregular verbs. You just have to master them. You just have to know them. So that is my piece of advice. Otherwise, thank you very much and see you in my next lesson as we move to simple past perfect tense. and that will be very, very interesting.